It's not that personal training doesn't work, it's that hiring the wrong personal trainer doesn't work. If you've ever hired a personal trainer, worked hard, showed up consistently, and still felt like nothing ever changed, there's a good chance it wasn't your fault. Most people don't fail in the gym because they're lazy. They fail because they trusted the wrong person to guide them, even if that person is yourself. And the cost of that is bigger than most people think. It's not just money. It's months of wasted effort and bad habits being reinforced, your confidence getting wrecked, and eventually quitting because you feel like it's just not working. In this video, I'll tell you how to almost immediately tell whether or not a personal trainer actually knows what they're doing, the few questions that expose real coaching fast, and the red flags that should make you walk away before you start wasting your time. Here's the trap that a lot of people fall into. You hire a trainer, the workouts are hard, you're sweating, your heart rate's up, you're sore for days, and that feels productive. But then a few weeks go by and nothing meaningful has changed. You're not stronger, your body doesn't feel better, you might even feel worse. And that's when people start blaming themselves. But here's the truth. Anyone can make you tired, sweaty, and sore. That's not indicative of anything. That part's actually easy. Anyone can throw some exercises together, add circuits, add reps, add weight, shorten the rest times, keep you moving nonstop, and you'll eventually walk out of there completely exhausted. The problem is that being tired, sweaty, and sore is not the same thing as getting better. What actually drives results is the thinking behind the workout. Why this exercise? Why this weight? Why this progression? And why is one person doing something different than another? Good coaches can answer these questions. The problem is that not too many people are asking. And that's why bad coaching is easy to hide. The unfortunate truth is that the barrier to entry for a personal trainer is embarrassingly low. Most trainers get a basic certification and then get thrown on the floor, start working with real clients before they've had enough time, education, and mentorship to become a good coach. The failure rate for personal trainers is incredibly high, like 80% fail out in the first year. And that creates a huge problem for clients when confidence gets mistaken for competence because you don't know what to look for. A trainer can be assertive, they can be in great shape, they can give you a really hard workout. None of this proves they can actually coach. So if you want to stop wasting your time, stop judging trainers by how hard they make you work, start judging them by how they think. And the biggest place that shows up is right in the beginning. Good trainers assess before they prescribe. Bad trainers jump straight into a workout. A good coach wants to know who they're actually working with. They'll ask about your history, your injuries, your goals, what's bothered you before, what you liked before, how often you train, how well you recover, and what your life looks like outside the gym. They'll also watch you move, not because they're trying to impress you with some fancy movement screen, but because they need the information to know where to start. Bad trainers do the opposite. They don't ask a lot of questions. They just give you a random workout, maybe push you a little too hard, and tell you that we'll adjust as we go. That's not assessing, that's guessing. And that gets expensive fast. So here's a simple rule. If someone starts training you before they've asked some basic questions, they're probably making it up. The good news is you don't need an exercise science degree to figure out whether or not a trainer is actually competent. You just need to ask a few smart questions and listen for how they answer. Ask this question: how do you decide what exercises I'll start with? A good trainer will make the answer about you, your history, your goals, your injuries, your movement, and your ability level. A bad trainer will give you some generic answer that could apply to almost anyone. The second question is, how will you know if this program is working? A real coach will mention the specific performance metrics that they're tracking: body composition, strength, number of reps, amount of weight, and a variety of other things that could show an improvement in your performance. A bad answer would be, let's just trust the process, or we'll see how you feel. I mean, that sounds good, but it's vague. Consistency matters, but consistency with the wrong thing only reinforces bad habits. Third, what would make you change my plan? Good trainers expect adjustments. They know that people don't progress in a straight line. They'll talk about changing exercises, load, volume, or structure based on feedback and results. Bad trainers struggle to answer this question because they haven't even thought that far ahead. And fourth, what are you watching while I'm lifting? A real coach is watching how well you move, where things break down, how well you brace, and the control that you have over the lift itself. If the answer is, I'm just making sure you work hard, they probably don't know what they're looking for. Good trainers bring clarity: why you're doing an exercise, where you should feel that exercise, and how it relates to your goals. And you get real coaching, not just a cheerleader, but actual corrections that make the movement better right away. And that creates a completely different training experience. Progress feels steady, challenges feel intentional, and your confidence goes up. Bad training relies on intensity, novelty, and motivation. Every workout is different, everything burns, everything feels hardcore, but there's nothing there that makes you measurably better. There's no way to gauge your performance. Remember this: anyone can make you tired, sweaty, and sore. That's not the same thing as getting better. So let's make this simple. Here's 2 red flags when you're deciding whether or not to work with a personal trainer. Red flag number 1: generic programming with no real assessment. If they hand you a workout on day 1 without asking any real questions and can't explain why you're doing an exercise, that is a giant red flag. That's not coaching, that's copy and paste programming. Red flag number 2: you're a busy professional and they're programming body part splits. Now, if you can spend 90 minutes in the gym 4 days a week and never miss, well, body part splits might be a good option. They've worked really well for bodybuilders and show prep for a really long time. The problem is that's not a realistic approach for most busy professionals. It's just not how you live your life. If your schedule's demanding, your week is unpredictable, and your energy varies, and sometimes you might have to miss a workout, well, body part splits are a bad approach, because now your progress depends on perfect attendance. Because if you miss a random Thursday, you may not train that muscle group again for another week. And that's how people end up doing 37 chest days in a row and never working their legs. Body part splits are a terrible setup for somebody who needs some flexibility with their scheduling. For busy professionals, full body training is almost always the better approach. Why? Because full body training gives you the opportunity to train major muscles and movement patterns even when life gets crazy. If you miss a workout, your whole program doesn't fall off track. You simply get back on track with the very next session. That doesn't mean that body part splits are just fundamentally wrong. They're just the wrong tool for the job. But if somebody showed up with a hammer when you needed tweezers, you should be concerned. Just because it works for your trainer doesn't mean that it works for you. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this: a good trainer should be able to explain these 3 things: why you're doing this exercise, how it relates to your goal, and what constitutes an improvement in performance. That's it. No complicated language, no fancy talk, just clear, simple language. If they can't explain those 3 things, it doesn't matter how hard the workout is or how confident they sound. They're making it up. Still wondering if hiring a personal trainer is really worth it? Well, check out this video. I'll answer that commonly asked question and hopefully change the way you think about it. Peter Drucker famously said, "Most mistakes aren't the result of the wrong answers. The truly dangerous thing is asking the wrong question."